What's up, my beautiful people? Exile451 here with yet another daily dose of Reddit Happy. Gonna do some Reddit stories today from r/AskReddit on everything from drinking denture water to farting priests. So, let's get to it. So, today's AskReddit question was, what is your funniest memory that still makes you laugh? Childhood memory. Me and my cousin chase each other. Then he wanted a quick drink of water, stormed to the fridge, and saw a glass of water ready inside. I can still hear his voice like it happened a while ago. Oh, looks like someone knew I was gonna want some glass of cold water. He started drinking, eyes closed as if in a commercial, when he felt something touch his lips, opened his eyes, and saw my grandma's full upper and lower dentures. Eyes wide open, he froze a little and finished the water still. Oh, that's gotta be awkward. I mean... That's just weird. Back as a teen in high school, pre-internet days, had found out how to sew a cloak, big D&D/fantasy nerd, and took it to a buddy's house to show it to him. Got there, his mom said he was still asleep and to go in and wake him up. Walked in his room, and I couldn't resist. Room was half dark, just a little light coming in through the blanket he had over the window. So I throw the cloak on, made sure the hood's fully over my head, and then bend over and shake him awake. You know that Tom and Jerry cartoon where Jerry scares Tom and he literally starts climbing the walls? Yeah, it was kind of like that. That was almost 30 years ago, and I still can make him cuss like a sailor just by mentioning it. Oh, gosh, I wish I'd done this when I was in high school. Sadly, all my friends are either out of state or married with kids and whatnot, and we're just too old to pull pranks like that. But if I have any kids, probably with them one day. The time during church service when the altar boys, who were normally very well behaved, broke out laughing while the priest was swinging the thurible, incensing the altar and whatnot. The boys were kneeling directly behind him at the altar. Apparently, the priest let out a series of loud farts as the smoke from the incense was rising. The altar servers couldn't keep a straight face, but no one else knew why they were laughing because the organ covered the sound while the incense masked the smell. Alright, now that's next level right there. That priest is genius. I mean, talk about a way to get away with it. Frick. 2 nights ago, me and my fiance bring our 2-year-old son to bed and cuddle with him until he seems to be asleep. Is he asleep? My fiance whispers. Yes, our boy whispers back. Aw, that's just all sorts of wholesome. A group of us were going to drive in a couple of cars to a restaurant. I had to fart before we took off, so I hopped out of the car that was taking me and knocked on the window of another friend's car, signaling her to let me in. I sat down, did the silent deed, then got back out. I immediately turned around and saw her gagging. I got back into the first car and the driver, her brother, knew exactly what I did. We laughed the whole way to the restaurant. He loved it because when they were kids, he'd crop dust her room all the time. When we got to the restaurant, she wouldn't talk to me. But when we were about to leave, she finally said, I thought nothing could be worse than my brother's farts, but I was wrong. I had the windows down the whole way here, and I could still smell it. I can still smell it. Once, we were sleeping in a friend's house. He was in his room, and we were in his brother's room. He was not in the house, so we would sleep there. By accident, we threw a ball in the wrong direction and it made a loud noise. My friend came out of his room to see what had happened. We were going to tell him, but we realized that he had a full-body rabbit pajamas and he looked very funny. Sometimes I remember from nothing and I laugh slowly until I get to a loud laugh. Okay, now contextually this would be interesting because it depends on how old they were. If they're really young, it's cute. If they're, say, high school age, it's weird and funny. So... We were on vacation in our home country with my uncle and cousins. It was a hot day and we went to the beach. My uncle was already wearing his beach shorts and forgot that he put his electric car keys in his pocket when he jumped into the ocean. He then realized and had to get a replacement with my father. He was lucky he got a replacement for the key, and with it being so hot and him being happy he could finally jump into the ocean for some refreshment, this is exactly what he did, with a new car key in his swim shorts. There was this one time my older sister and I were at a church camp, and all the leaders took all 20 plus of us to get ice cream at Chick-fil-A. And, of course, all these little 1st through 5th graders got brain freeze. And my older sister, the 5th grade genius she was, told all the other little kids if they slammed their heads against the tables, it would get rid of the brain freeze. And all the kids listened. So there were 20 plus kids just slamming their heads against tables to try and get rid of the brain freeze. The leaders were so confused and concerned, and my sister was just laughing her butt off. Oh. So when I was really young, I had a friend named Benjamin, and he did scouts with his Jewish youth group. I remember when I connected with him very briefly several years later, he talked about how they'd recently gotten in trouble because they'd told all the younger kids that they had space jerky for them, and that it was really yummy space jerky, and all it was wadded up duct tape, but it looked like jerky. And so all these young kids are chewing on this duct tape until their mouths are sore, trying to break off a piece and eat it. And it did not go over well with the adults, let me tell you. Oh, I'd forgotten about that until this. Sometimes it's just really funny what you can get a mass of kids to do, though. Okay, just listen to this one, though. This dude in sophomore year of high school spilled a drink on the ground and looks around to find something to pick it up. And what does he choose? A freaking Doritos bag. A cellophane Doritos bag. Then just lies down on the cold tile trying to dab it up like he's doing something. This scene has been etched into my mind with him just flailing around on the ground trying to pick up liquid with plastic. I had an argument with a friend in college, which was mostly cool but got a bit heated. As an apology, I decided to politely send her an incredibly I was wrong email, address titled Touché, because she was right and I was wrong. And I don't remember what I said exactly, but I distinctly remember ending the email with a little PS because I felt super classy because I knew the right accented E for the email title. But this was years ago, and the university email system was in-house and not the best. The next year, the university moved to Gmail email, and had that happened a year earlier, I would have been fine. Instead, she comes to find me because she wants to know if there's something I should say to her face. And I'm like, no, I think the email fully says I screwed up. But she shows me her email, which she hasn't opened because it's suggestively titled Touch, because the shoddy email system couldn't process the E with the accent. And she's convinced I'm trying to suggest a friends with benefits situation based solely off the title. After a lot more apologizing and actually reading the email, we walk away okay and laughing. 2 couples playing pool at a pool hall. One couple playing, the other watching. Watching couple gets all kissy-kissy. She's sitting on a stool, back to the wall, he's leaning over her, kissing. Pure sugar, saturin, sappy, sweet, disgusting. As they do this, the guy walks up behind him, just as he leans in for another kiss, and whacks the back of his head. He bonks his head onto the girl, she bonks her head onto the wall, and I couldn't stop laughing out loud. Freaking hilarious. Okay, I know that I'm full of stories today, but this is my channel and I'm just gonna ramble on with them. So when I was working as a lifeguard up at college, we had a very strict no PDA rule at the pool because, it wasn't just students that would go there, it was professors with their families and whatnot, and members of the community could come too, and it just really wasn't all that appropriate to be super touchy, flirty, making out in the pool. Well, one day we're doing our in-house staff training that we did like every other week, and there's this couple that, technically while it is open swim, generally we don't have anyone there. We discouraged the locker rooms from renting out suits just because we wanted it to be empty. And, they're making out pretty intensely. And so we tell them, hey, no PDA. And they're like, okay, fine. And they start doing it again. And we're like, no PDA. And they're like, okay. And then they very sneakily think that they're gonna be able to hide under the diving board and then slowly move their way in between 2 of the diving blocks for like swim teams. And at that point, I just kind of had it. And so I picked up a water polo ball at the other end of the pool, and I will never, ever understand how I did this as perfectly as I did, because I chucked it hard enough and angled it just perfectly that when it landed, it was like right next to the guy's head and wedged right into like the overflow spill. which I know there's an actual name for it, I'm just blanking on it right now. And they were just so surprised. And then glared at me, and I just was like, see guys, I told you I could get it all the way to the other side of the pool. And just played it off. Then they finally took the hint, but it was... Oh, it was one of those things that I could never recreate in a million years, but it was beautifully done. Okay, this is a great one. When I was in 8th grade during science, this year we learned about space. We were playing some kind of deer hunting game. Basically, a deer was drawn on the whiteboard and we had a ball. You were in teams of 3. Different spots on the deer were worth certain points. First, one person throws the ball to get the points. Then another person goes up to the teacher and he points to a space-related word on his clipboard for you to draw. Then your teammates have to guess what you are. It was me, female, and my 2 male friends as one of the teams. During the first round, we were joking and laughing, and one of my friends, Max, said, "Hey, if the word is planet, draw a chicken." We laughed at this, and it became the inside joke in the time of the games. Second round came up, and it was our turn to go up again. I was the artist of the class, so I was nominated to do the drawing. Max throws the ball at the deer, and I go up to the teacher to get the word. As we look at his list of words, his finger trails down. Lo and behold, he points at, you guessed it, planet. For a second, I forgot the joke plan and thought of how I'm going to draw this planet. I grab a marker and stand at the board for a moment to think. That's when I remembered the joke and started drawing a chicken. Max and the other guy look at the board and me confused as to why I'm drawing a chicken when it's supposed to be about space. Everyone in the room looked confused. That's when Max's face lit up and he started jumping up and down screaming, "Oh, planet, planet! The word is planet!" Oh my gosh, the look on the teacher's face. His jaw dropped. The look on his face was pure confused shock. The other students were yelling we cheated or something. Me and my teammates were laughing our butts off. I was laughing so hard I was rolling on the floor. Our teacher then said, "How did you get planet from chicken?" His expression and him saying that added to how funny it was. I was dying. I couldn't breathe. We then proceeded to explain the joke plan through our laughter. It was the greatest moment of my life. Okay, so last story for this video, I swear. So one summer, in between semesters, I was at school because you could get a lot of hours at the pool at that point since there were so few lifeguards who stayed in between semesters. And so I had only a few friends that were up there at the time, and we got together one night and we played, I don't even remember the game. I want to say, I honestly cannot remember the name of the game. But I remember we were on teams and each team had to draw the same word, and then the other people in the team would try and guess it. And it was all pop culture stuff. And we were doing all right. I mean, it was just back and forth. We were just derping around. It wasn't really anything serious. And me just being who I am, I was goofing off the whole time, making jokes and just weird, obscure references that some people got and other people were like, dude, this kid is so freaking weird. And then one came up and the person in our team started drawing. And within 2 seconds, I mean, just part of my normal shtick, I'm just rambling off random references and I'm just like, Vampire Diaries. And they stop drawing and they look at me like, how did you know? I'm like, wait, what? I was right? They're like, yes, it was Vampire Diaries. And the other team's just staring at us in complete bewilderment as to how I guessed this just completely off the cuff because they were trying to draw the same thing. It was one of those moments that I was just like, yes, my weirdness pays off. Oh gosh, I've got so many memories. That was r/AskReddit, and if you're looking for more funny or uplifting AskReddit content, then go ahead and check out the playlist link in the description below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and share it because I know more people out there could use some laughter and some happiness when everything right now is so upside down. Now you guys go out there, be safe, be smart, stay healthy. I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, I'm Exile451. Stay beautiful, people.